Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose. Today I thought I'd sit down and kind of talk about food addiction, because it is something that I do struggle with. And I have struggled with it for, the majority of my life, and it's really kind of come to the front during this 60-day challenge. So I'm at a point, as of filming this video, I am at day 57, I think. So I've got like 3 days left technically, but over the weekend, we went to Costco. We got some muffins for my husband and for my kiddo. And I had a couple, which is not a huge problem. Like, okay, it is a problem for me. They're 50 grams of carbs per muffin, and I had 2 of them in one day, which means I was well outside. Excuse me, my guy. So I had 2 of them, which means I was well outside of my carb count. And as I was eating them, like, there was no dopamine rush. Like, my body is no longer addicted to the things, which is good. And I figured, get through this, get off being addicted to stuff, and it would kind of fix itself. Well, I didn't account for, like, the mental piece of addiction, which has been kind of kicking my butt around this house for the last like 3 or 4 days. I look at those muffins and I go, God, I want one of those. And then I go, well, you didn't enjoy them the first time. What is it about it that you really want? And the answer is, I want that dopamine rush. I want that rush that comes with eating the carbs. And if that isn't like the epitome of an addiction, I don't know what is. Like, my brain is jonesing for a hit of sugar, of carbs. My body isn't. My body's fine. In fact, my body's starting to crave the protein and all of, like, the good whole foods that I've been giving it. So what about the sugar is driving me to want it again? And so I've done a little bit of digging, and basically your brain acts the same way with food as it does with hard substances. So it's the same pleasure pathway. If you take a scan of the brain of an addict who does hard things, you're gonna see the same things light up as when you compare it to someone who is addicted to food. So I've done enough research on it to really come to terms with what's going on in my brain. But it's going to be something that I'm going to be fighting for maybe ever. I think it's going to be one of those things where I can't have the things, because if I have the things, I will revert. clearly I cannot trust myself even with having things in the house for the rest of the people who are in my house. I've been looking at those stupid muffins for the last couple of days, and my brain goes, "Oh, it's just a muffin. Have the muffin. Like, you're fine. It's just 50 grams of carbs. You can work that in." Well, the answer is no, I can't. I stop myself and I literally spin my butt around and walk out of the kitchen because I cannot do 50 grams of carbs in one day. My body does not do that. My body likes to be in ketosis at 20 grams or less, which means I need to be consuming 20 grams or less. So what that's going to mean for me is that if I do sweets, I'm going to have to find alternatives. If I celebrate something, it's going to have to be like a keto dessert. And it's going to have to be like in a small mini portion, like in a ramekin or like a mini muffin tin or something like that. Something that I can make 2 or 3 and be done. Right? So I am frustrated, and I happen to know that some of my frustration is coming from where I'm at in my hormone cycle, because that obviously is going to impact everything. Well, I mean, let's be real, that's going to impact everything. And I'm not really sure how to go about healing this. One of the excuses that us people who have struggled with a food dependency use is just like, well, I can't avoid food. I gotta eat to live. And I have 100% used that as an excuse. I have used that to eat the chips and the whatever and blah. Or I've said, oh well, my blood work isn't there yet to the point of needing to do something, so I'm just not going to worry about it. Well, last year my blood work was at a point where I needed to worry about it. This year it's better because I'm doing better, and I will continue to do so. So I'm at a point where I'm not needing to sit down and binge. I don't feel the compulsion to do that anymore. Now, and when I say that, I mean I can sit down and I can eat an entire large pizza plus an appetizer plus dessert, and then go home and eat more. Or then continue to eat more. I can put away, 5,000 plus calories in one sitting. That is not an issue for me. It never has. Usually, hopefully never will be. You know what I mean. It's not something that I'm going to be allowing myself to do going forward. And part of that is recognizing what my body needs versus what my brain wants. And that is a huge, hard distinction to sit in. And the other side of that coin is what emotion is driving me to consume. Because that is a huge part of all of this. If I'm sad or anxious, my first instinct is to eat. If I'm happy, it's a celebration while people gather around food. That's what we do. And it's not something that I want to let rule my life anymore. I want to be able to go to a family function or to a social outing and go, yeah, I'm good. Be able to order, something within the realm of keto or, carnivore if I stay carnivore. And go, okay, yeah, I've eaten half of this, like I'm done. I don't need to finish it just for the sake of finishing it. And I know part of that comes from some trauma I've had in my past regarding food. My let's say that one side of my family really didn't like the fact that I had texture issues, and they would force me to sit there while they fed me food that would make me sick. And then after I was done being sick, I would have to sit there and eat again. Or I would sit there until we were ready to leave. So when I did find food that was palatable for me, now keep in mind, I have sensory issues. I don't have control over that. That is something that is broken in my brain. Like it's literally missing. And when that would happen, I would be so hungry by the time I got back to my mom's house that I would eat everything that was safe until I was satiated. So I'm really starting to realize that part of my problem with food is the fact that it is engineered to be highly palatable, and addictive. I mean, that's part of what food science does, is they try to get you to go back and eat more. Part of it is that I have an addictive personality, and I am 100% addicted to food. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm addicted to food. And I can recognize that, and part of it is probably a PTSD response. And that's something I'm going to have to look into and figure out how to work through, because it's not healthy. And it's not something that I want chained to my ankle for the next 30 years of my life. I want to be able to go out, and have a date night with my husband and pick what I want to eat and not worry about the noise that's going on in my head. So I think I'm going to continue my research and really delve into the mechanics of food noise and why I do what I do. And then I'm going to make an official video about it. I really just wanted to sit here and tell my story. It's not something that I had growing up. I look back at pictures, what pictures I do have, and I was a really skinny kid. Up until about 7 or 8, I was really thin, and then I started gaining weight for reasons that I 100% understand and did on purpose, but I'm not going to talk about them on this channel. Or if I do, it's going to be very vague because nobody really needs to hear it. And then, in high school, it really picked up because that's when a lot of the emotional, what do I want to call it? The emotional grossness was happening with that side of my family. And it wasn't until I was 19 that I finally cut them off and things started to get better. But I didn't stop eating. And when I did stop eating, I full on fell to the other extreme of that spectrum of withholding nutrition from myself to drastically lose weight very quickly, which is not healthy. So my brain seems to go from one end to the other pretty consistently, pretty naturally, which is something that I have been very mindful of during this challenge, of not to label any food in terms of morality, not label any food as correct or not, because those very much trigger me into that style of extreme. So for me, I would say that in that aspect, I have done extremely well with that kind of noise. But clearly the food noise has not gone away. And I have to wonder if it's going to be there forever. I did find a video from a doctor named Dr. Sivis, who I think his work is awesome. He does a lot of keto videos. He does a lot of carb addiction stuff. And he sat down and really kind of went into some of his past and the fact that he is a carb addict. He still considers himself a carb addict because if he eats a bite, he's going to continue. And I will include a clip or two of that video because that was one of the first videos I found on this little research project of mine. And it made so much sense to my brain. And like little light bulbs were like popping off. And I was hoping that the food noise that I have would have been gone by now. I'm 60 days in. I would have thought that it would have been gone by now. Or at the very least lessened. And that is 100% not what my experience has been. And it's been a little frustrating. Gotta be honest. Like it's been so frustrating knowing that I was doing so good. And then my brain just decides, oh, we're going to do this thing because I want that dopamine rush. And the body goes, well, I don't need this. I'm adapted to what we were doing. And it's caused me mass amounts of inflammation. It's caused me, like those 2 muffins caused me so much inflammation this weekend. Like I was still feeling it like 48 hours later. I'm still feeling it 3 days later. It's causing my moods to shift a little bit. It's causing, it's mostly the pain. Like the pain that I have that is chronic is worse over the last 2 to 3 days than it was pre-muffin. Which tells me, again, because this is not the first time I have done this to myself, I have a problem and I keep slipping and I recognize that and I don't know how to stop, and it just, it proves that the way that I have chosen to eat is the proper way that I need to eat. You know, it does such good things for my cerebral palsy. I was noticing yesterday I ate well under 15 grams of carbs yesterday. No matter how much I wanted one of those muffins, I literally sat my butt on the couch facing away from my kitchen, and if I was hungry, I'd grab a protein shake. Or I'd grab a beef stick. Or something that I didn't necessarily want because I wasn't hungry. I was just wanting my fix. And I've noticed today that my cerebral palsy is getting looser. Like, I was able to paint my nails for the first time in about 8 years. Which I know is a weird milestone, but if your hand doesn't open, you can't paint your nails. Because I don't have the rotation on my wrist and my arm to be able to paint it while fisted. You know, I've noticed that my back is back to moving a little bit more smoothly. The pain is still there, and the brain fog is still here. So what I've done today is I had a protein shake this morning because I was hungry. You know, I haven't really felt like food. Like, I've been just in a really snacky mood. So I've had some pork rinds. I've had some beef sticks. I will eventually go and make some brisket for dinner. And it's just wild to me that people go about their business and they go, well, oh, you know, I'm not addicted to food. You can't be addicted to food. And I'm over here dying because I am 100% addicted to food. And I have to wonder, you know, I watch my 600-pound life for a guilty pleasure. And I have to wonder, after how many times people say, well, if I don't bring her the food, she gets violent, or she gets scary, or she yells at me, if that is the food addiction talking. Like, are all of these bigger people, myself included, getting angry and volatile in their ups and downs, because their body is craving a substance that they are dependent on, and they don't have it, or they're not getting it fast enough. And it just makes me want to go back and do some more research and figure out, like, the actual mechanics of why, so I understand what my body's doing from a science perspective as well from a human perspective. So yeah, that's all. I just wanted to come on and talk at you. I'll see you next time.